Comrades and friends, brothers and sisters, I have decided to break up part number 4 of Dialectical Materialism versus the New Physics into 2 parts because the video would have been just too long combining the two. This video is part A of part 4, and part 4B will deal with anthropology and the problems I found there. The title of this preliminary video to that one is that the brain only sees what the brain is trained to see. Before I get into the subject of anthropology, it has over time become very clear to me that something very, very natural, not conspiratorial, not accidental, is at the very source of the inability of scientists to see what is right there, directly in front of their eyes. In the scientific method, there's a mode of operations which is basic to the science, and that is called Occam's razor, which dictates that when two rival theories are presented, that the simplest one is preferred. Yet in each of my previous videos regarding physics, geology, and then paleontology, Occam's razor was violated and completely ignored in each case by those scientists. In each of these 3 sciences, these sciences had all these convoluted theories with numerous contrary explanations and twisted and utterly nonsensical explanations built one on top of the other, incredible, together with numerous proofs, unfortunately bogus proofs, false proofs, that were accepted by all of them. I watch and I see them accept these things, and I'm so shocked, and yet there were simple explanations right in front of their eyes that they refused to look at. Right there. What in the world was going on? When I began to investigate in anthropology, now going into number 4 there, and discovered the same problem, same situation, I had to take a pause and try to figure out what's going on here. Why does this problem exist? It's obviously not just a one-off. Now, for your information, I'm not nobody, you know. I was one of the pioneers in the revolution in statistical analysis of Major League Baseball player performance, with a number of books published, and I was hired by Major League teams and to advise their general managers as a consultant on player evaluation. This took place almost 3 decades ago. It's a little while ago. As a statistical analyst, that's my area of expertise. I understand that just one example of the failure to see what's right in front of an entire mass of scientists in one field, while strange to me, might just be an accident. Okay, that might be accidental. However, after seeing this become a pattern, now I can't ignore it. I said, well, this is a pattern, there must be a cause. There must be a cause that's outside of the failure to understand by a particular group of scientists. because four separate fields, all showing the same blindness and rejection of the obvious and of the scientific method in regards to Occam's razor, made it clear to me. I now need to examine and try to understand and discover why this situation is natural. It has to be natural and should be expected. It has to be expected, and not some sort of conspiracy or a one-off chance occurrence. So now I have to examine who I am, who we are, because this is involving thinking. And higher animals all have the central nervous system, and that's the clue, because we are a contradiction. Every one of us, from the cockroach to me, we're all contradictions. Each of us is a single individual animal, in our case an individual person, while simultaneously being a colony of neurons, single-cell animals, working collectively to direct this creature, me, you, and you. The neurons, these single-cell animals, are like the executive group, the CEOs, that operates and maintains an internal colony of other single-cell animals, as well as operating this outside shell, this shell, which we present to the public as being us, ourselves. There's 86.1 billion of these single-cell animals in our brain. But, unlike most animals, our brains and our babies arrive not fully developed, in fact, totally helpless. They're really a premature fetus at birth. Different from even our nearest relatives, the apes and the monkeys. They have ability to move and to do things. Our babies are totally helpless. Unbelievably, totally helpless. They're still a fetus. They have no ability to deal with the outside world. These babies, our babies, can't even raise their heads when they're born. What does that mean for the experience, the collective experience of those 86.1 billion single-cell animals that we call neurons, which at birth have utterly no control or understanding of their environment? They're entrapped in this fetus. Each of these neurons, we must remember, are unintelligent single-cell animals. And the only thing they're trying to do is to survive. That's all they want to do. What's a little single-cell animal? It wants to survive and eventually reproduce. But they're doing it at birth in a world that they have no control over, no matter how collectively they're operating in the head of that baby. But these unintelligent neurons are you, are me. There is no such imaginary thing as a soul. What we are those 86.1 billion individual animals working collectively, but each one of them unintelligent. Our actual intelligence that develops arises from the collective experience and cooperation of those neurons all from that day onwards. However, when this community of neurons die, whether it's some of them, and we go through, and we lose our memories and everything like that, as they die, but when they completely die, of course, you die. End of story. The neurons of a cockroach are far fewer, but also have it much easier. much, much easier. Because when a cockroach is born, its sense organs are fully formed and ready. A cockroach can run from predators right from birth, in the same way as the mature cockroach can. The human baby, unlike an ape or monkey baby, is so utterly helpless and totally dependent on its mother. It cannot even raise its head to its mother's nipple to eat. The mother must bring the baby's head to the nipple. What does that mean for these single-cell animals that are trying to figure out the world? The only job that these neurons have is to try to survive and reproduce, as I've said. Each neuron is just that simple. Although it has thousands of connections, each cell to the fellow neurons, which allow it to be a collective in cooperation. And that allows the production of the complicated lives that each one of us experiences. That fact that they are unintelligent and have only two objects, survival and reproduction, means that these cells, your brain, are the ultimate conservatives. They understand that they at birth are totally helpless in a body that they can't control. Change is to be feared. But these 86.1 billion neurons are the operator of a complex body that they control. And they are required from day one to explore this new environment. That's the only way they're going to survive. They have to find out what's going on via the six senses and to adjust their responses to the outside via what it finds is successful and via what is unsuccessful experiences. That's how we develop and how the brain develops its knowledge of the world. When we talk of learning, what we are really talking about is the self-training that these neurons do as a collective together in terms of their experience of this outside world. Our neurons, which are us, have no choice because they're so utterly helpless to immediately worship the person who holds us and feeds us and protects us, which is for the most part our mothers. No other primate is so helpless and dependent on its mother. Is it therefore so hard to understand how scary it is for humans to think outside this narrow box of survival and reproduction? So where does that dependence then follow after the mother? Our neurons discovered that we live in a society, in a community, and a tribe. We are dependent on that tribal community because the neurons have to have security, have to have the ability to reproduce. So they have to be accepted by that tribe, that community. And it matches how they accept each other. Because in order for them, those 86.1 billion neurons to be successful, they have to cooperate. There is no choice. They must work in unity or they're done for. And so that attitude is exhibited within the community outside. Their attitude is the same as outside as it is here. We need cooperation. That cooperation is dependent first on the mother and then on the community for acceptance. Failure to cooperate, neuronal single-cell animals, failure to cooperate amongst each other in either the internal manner inside the head or externally in the tribe, within the tribe, could endanger survival and eliminate the possibility of reproduction. And remember, those cells are unintelligent, so that is very basic interest. In other words, our neurons understand that success is based on acceptance by the community and failure as rejection by that community. Inside, outside, doesn't matter where. Same response. So that means that the fear of rejection, the abject fear of rejection, is hardwired into our brain, into each and every one of those neurons. Therefore, once a theory or a belief is accepted in the community, wherever type of community it is, as the paradigm that's accepted, whether it be religious community or scientific community or political community, it takes a true revolutionary to challenge it, step outside and say, I think you're wrong. Oh no, you're going to have a reaction from everybody. It is also understandable that there is a back and forth within both communities as a result that forces that rejection, or in rare case, a new paradigm. So therefore, our whole brain, all those 86.1 billion neurons, they're hardwired to be a conservative, to say, I'm happy with what exists. If you want to bring anything from the outside, I don't know, you're endangering us all. Anything that endangers our acceptance in our tribal-based community creates a great fear of rejection, endangering our survival and reproduction. Yeah, sounds familiar for a Marxist, doesn't it? For a Marxist. Also, this does not end at this point, however, because we live in a community that's different from what's in here. What's in here, the community works together. But here, outside, the community is split into two parts. The vast majority of those oppressed, and a vampire group that runs it and sucks all the value and gives the rewards and the failures. So this division by class is an added factor. That class division, where acceptance is accompanied by monetary rewards or penalties, sometimes physical rewards and penalties, from the capitalist ruling class, means that rejection is a greater danger beyond yourself, but into your entire family, their physical and economic survival. While acceptance could mean higher social status within the community, as in addition to monetary rewards, in order to please, that are gotten by pleasing the vampire class that runs this world. For scientists, class division in society is especially problematic. Because, scientists are trained in universities that are run by the ruling class. Our average worker goes to work and can hate the boss. They work for 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, and they don't give up their brains. So they can hate the bosses all the whole time. Scientists, especially professors, are in the unenviable position of having to sell their brains. And that's hard to counteract. So, and it's very problematic because in a society run by the ruling class, and even before that, because new ideas, as I said, the brain is conservative, questioning authority. While everybody has a problem with that, you know, because the brain is so conservative, when you add on the ruling class, which actually fears new ideas, fears a challenge to their authority, well, now we have a even bigger problem. Questioning authority is always a little dangerous, but under class society is really dangerous, economically, and to some extent, many times, physically. Therefore, understanding the conservative nature of the human brain, combined with its pressure from a class-divided society, makes it clear that thinking outside this big little box we're in is revolutionary. It's revolutionary. The brain only sees what it is trained to see. And in our society, that training is narrow. And of necessity in class society is very narrow. So that from day one at birth, the brain receives a training that is conservative to the max. So, here I am, a Marxist. Why then should I be surprised? Of course, I'm no longer surprised or saddened by the failure of so many to see what is right in front of their eyes. The oppression that billions of people go through. They work every day for a boss. They're giving up the product they produce to a boss every day, and they don't see it. You know that. They're thankful they got a job, and it's the boss that gave them the job, right? Well, when it's the reverse is true. So what you have is a society that has accepted paradigms built on top of each other that are very conservative and allow people only to see what the brain has been trained to see. And the brain is not trained to see much. And it is fearful of what it hasn't been trained to see. So that we have as Marxists, okay, it's understandable. We have to fight to get the truth forward. It takes a little work, or a lot of work. So that just in all areas of human existence, and now here in the science, it is only natural to have to fight for what is right and what is true, especially what is true, because what is true is what is right. They're two of the same thing, really. So, hey, if we understand that, then in the end, we must have faith that the truth will win out. We must have faith that those living by the false, by the mistake, by the lie, can't keep going on. The truth will win out in the end. And it will. Just have to have faith. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So I hope you enjoyed what I just presented. Si se puede. Thanks for watching.